Hello, it's Camille here in my gut house, Sunday, January 25th. And so if you see here, I have a couple new windows. Again, I waited until the weekend to make my update because of daylight, because I still don't have any lights. But these two windows, they came and put in on Thursday. So a little bit later than it sounded like they were going to come right away Monday or Tuesday, and they didn't. But they've got those in there now, and you can see the framing. There is no insulation in there yet, some spray foam insulation. We plan to do that. But yeah, so I like double hung windows. I don't like casement, but to have the egress the size that it would need to be, we would have to really seriously redo the framing of the windows to get a double hung window big enough to be legally an egress. But a casement window is different. So that's that one. And then here's this one. Here, now you can see the framing. Now you can see the framing a little bit better, that they had to add a lot of extra framing because of this size of window. But the height of the window is still the exact same as this one over here, and that's the important part. So yeah, this one is awning window, I think as they call it. But I don't really plan to open this one ever. But I don't know, it's there. It's there. And the day that they did the windows was like -15, -20 out. So they did not do the door because this is the windows, they can just put back in really quickly. There was very minimal framing that they had to do, but this one needs a lot more framing. So they did not do that. So they'll do it this next week when it's a little bit nicer weather. You can kind of see my little drawing here. This is how it's going to be. 16 inches so that I can get some shallow pantry cabinets facing this direction on this wall. And then door, doggy door. So, and back in the bathroom, yesterday and today we did put some framing in, or some blocking in. So this one is for the TV in the guest room. You can see so the outlet is up there. I was doing some serious Googling about TV heights. So in a guest room, when you're laying on or in a bedroom in general, when you're laying on a bed, the TV would be mounted higher so that you don't have to crane your neck as bad, because on a bed you're naturally looking up. So, and the TV mount is on the lower area of the TV, low center. So that's why that is there. This blocking is for, I don't plan to put a cabinet above the toilet right away, but it's there if I ever want to do that. And because of the spacing to the next stud or whatever, we could have got my dad's right angle adapter, but we just decided to do this anyways, even though our plumber and the carpenter were both saying that we wouldn't need to add another 2x4 for the drywall, but we ended up doing that for this anyways. So, and then yeah, there's a tiny bit of blocking up there for the shower rod, and there, this one is for the towel bar, this one is for the towel bar, and both of these are for the living room TV now, which is going to be on the opposite side of the wall, obviously. So here, I did not realize just how low living room TVs are. I mean, like, even when you mount them to the wall, Google was saying, I Googled it, I used Gemini, and I used Copilot. And we were chatting, my parents and I were all chatting about, Google said put the center of the TV at about 42 inches, which I think is like right around here-ish. Actually, this mark is at 45, so it's, yeah, right around the center of these boards here, probably. But I guess when we sat on my folding chair in the living room, and I guess that's about right, somewhere between 42 to 47-ish. But, but 42 inches puts the TV at the exact same height as it would be on my TV stand, which I still plan to have anyways. So I'm probably not going to mount it to the wall yet, at least, but we want the blocking there for just in case in the future. Because I do have dogs, but they're not totally rambunctious. They're not going to tip the TV over or anything. I don't have kids. I don't have any friends who have kids or family or anybody who comes over or anything. So there's no real benefit to that. for me. And another thing we were planning on doing this weekend, which we actually have tube and stuff that we're going to return now because we're not going to do this anymore. I was planning on putting Smurf tube in the wall to hide any cords going from the TV down to the TV stand. And while I decided on smooth wall conduit instead of Smurf tube so that the cords don't get trapped as bad. But if the Smurf tube is literally going to be like 2 feet long back here, and it hides the cords from view on that side from the TV point of the view, maybe a few inches to a foot at very most. So it's like, that's a lot of money and labor for not much benefit. And then, so the same thing with the outlet. I was planning on putting a high up outlet just for the TV. Well, and if I'm going to have 1 or 2 cables going down anyways, there's not really a benefit to having an outlet up there. But when we have them redo this outlet, we are probably going to have them put in a 2-gang box. So there will be 4 outlets there instead of just the 2. But I think that's essentially what we accomplished this weekend. We didn't get too much accomplished other than just blocking. The contractor is supposedly going to come back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this next week to do the patio door. My dad's thought was that maybe we would just have them do just the patio door and frame out the spot for the doggy door, but don't put it in yet, and we can do that like spring or something, because that's not much effort. The patio door is the big thing. But I think that's all of the updates that I have right now. We're just going to do some cleaning and stuff, but I wanted to get the video done while I still have a tiny bit of light. So, good night.